It's funny how we protect things like our phone with cases, our homes with locks, but what about protecting our inner peace? Arguably the most valuable thing that we have, yet sometimes it feels like we are just handing it out for free, but that stops right now because let me tell you that protecting my inner peace has been one of the most powerful things that I've done for my mental health, energy, and overall just my sanity. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing 9 things that I stopped doing to protect my inner peace, to feel lighter, calmer, and just more like me. And I know they can do the same for you. So let's get into it. Before we start, I just want to say welcome to the Be So Good channel, where we're all about elevating ourselves to be our best, both inside and out. It's so good to have you here. Let's dive in. The first thing I stopped doing is saying yes to everything. And I know that it can be really hard to say no or to set boundaries, but it can be so important. I feel like as you get older, in my personal 28 years of wise age that I have really learned that I don't have to say yes to things that I don't want to do. I don't have to say yes to things in relationships that don't respect my boundaries. I don't have to say yes to everything in a work situation where, you become the yes person that can do everything. And I feel like a lot of times that actually ends up shooting you in the foot just in general in life, because then everyone knows that you can do everything. And a lot of times you feel like, you're going to be more appreciated for saying yes to everything, but it sometimes has the opposite effect and you end up feeling undervalued. This can also happen a lot in relationships and in friendships. So this is your sign that you don't have to say yes to things that don't serve you, that you don't feel comfortable with, or that you just simply don't want to do. We don't get time back. Time is the one thing that keeps moving forward and we can't go back. So do things that you want to do. Don't feel like you have to say yes to everything. The second thing I stopped doing is overthinking every decision. And as someone who gets a lot of analysis paralysis, I like to think about all the pros and cons, all the possible situations, and I can wrap myself in a whole world of all the possibilities. And I know that that leads to me being really indecisive sometimes when it comes to making certain decisions. I am now very aware that I have that trait. So now I have really tried and continue to try to not overthink things and just sometimes make a decision, whether it's the right decision or the wrong decision. Sometimes you're not going to know until you just do it. And a lot of the times it's not as big of a deal as you make it out to be in your head. You might think that it has to be the right decision. I can't get this wrong. And that's just not true. You can do something and then learn as you go. Sometimes you just need to get the ball rolling and you are going to adapt. You're going to adapt as you make right decisions, as you make wrong decisions. A lot of the times making wrong decisions shouldn't be that scary either, because a lot of the times we learn the most from making the quote unquote wrong decisions. So this is also your sign. If you're someone like me and you overthink everything, especially when it comes to like life decision or career decisions or your purpose and all these things, this is your sign to take a deep breath. Stop overthinking, just get one foot in front of the other, make a decision so that you stop viewing yourself as an indecisive person. And just know that with every foot that you put one in front of the other, you're going to keep going in that direction. And if you end up going in the wrong direction, that's okay. You can just go into another lane and reshift yourself. And it's really not as bad as you make it out to be in your head. The third thing that I stopped doing is not prioritizing my environment and my space. If you've watched any of my other videos, that I live in a studio, and I've lived in a studio with my fiance for the last 5 years. It is extremely important that our little studio and the environment itself is really peaceful. It's really cleanly, it's just organized, and overall makes us both feel like we can come home to a very calm and grounding place. There have been times when I was younger, especially as a teenager, I had really organized parents, especially my dad. He was very organized. I was not. And it's something that it's been a work in progress. I am by no means perfect. I will put myself under the bus on that one, but I have gotten a lot better because I stopped viewing it as like I have to be clean, and I started realizing how much it actually impacts my mood to have a space with colors that make me feel good, to have things that are really organized so that I don't have mental clutter in my mind, because honestly, your environment really shapes your mood. It really does. So if you're coming home or to your office or whatever it is, the space that you spend a lot of time in, and it is cluttered and disorganized and it's just giving you anxiety, anxiety to see it, that's your sign that if you organize that, it's gonna free up that mental space and you're gonna feel a lot calmer, a lot more grounded. So really, really prioritize your environment. The fourth thing that I stopped doing is following accounts that make me feel less than. Obviously, we live in a very social media heavy world, including this YouTube video that is on social media, me here on social media. But I do really think that it's so important if you are someone that you find yourself scrolling a lot or you just enjoy looking at social media, whether that's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, anything like that. Take the time to curate those feeds, to see content that, you're maybe learning something new, or you're looking at people that have similar lives, or I think it's really good to find inspiration if you're following people that they have a type of life or they do something that you like doing and you're not there yet. There is nothing wrong with that at all. But if you're following people that it's just like really unattainable, or for some reason seeing those things is making you feel like you're less than, this is also your sign to just not follow those people. Follow accounts that make you feel good, that empower you, that inspire you to be better or maybe feel more at peace, anything like that. Hopefully I can be one of those accounts that makes you feel good about yourself, because that's something that I want this channel to really be. I want us to be our best versions of ourselves and everything that comes with. As humans, we're very multifaceted, and I think it's important to cover a lot of different areas. But I want you to be able to feel good. I want to feel good. And so therefore, I only follow accounts that inspire me to be a better person, to be a better partner, a better daughter, just a better overall human being on this world. And I highly encourage you to do the same. The fifth thing I stopped doing is feeling guilty for resting or not overcommitting my schedule. Luckily, I think now that the whole hustle culture is, not as popular maybe. That being said, it's not like I don't think hustling during certain areas and moments of your life isn't important, because it is, especially if you're an entrepreneur or you're trying to do things. But I do think that it can get really unhealthy in some cases, and that people are really fearful of just resting, or if someone's asking you, what did you do this weekend, or what did you do yesterday, and you feel the need to be like, oh, I've been super busy, or whatever it is that you feel embarrassed to say, like, I didn't do anything. I relaxed, I watched a couple movies, I went for walks, I went to the spa, I regenerated myself. People feel ashamed almost sometimes of saying I didn't do anything, and I don't feel like that's right. I feel like resting is just as important as being productive. If anything, you are going to be so much more productive and so much more intentional with what you're doing, with your time, with the projects that you're working on, if you are giving yourself proper rest, because recovery is just as, if not more important. Stress is like one of the number one silent killers, and I don't know about you, but I don't want stress to rule my life. And for stress not to rule my life, you need to rest. It's so, so important. So don't feel ashamed and take pride and prioritize rest. The sixth thing I stopped doing is ignoring red flags in both situations and in people. And this is the famous quote that says, when they show you who you are, believe them. And honestly, I feel like as girls, we have all seen plenty of red flags, or unfortunately experienced red flags. And obviously this can come in relationships, or it can even come in work relationships or in friendships. There can be a lot of friendships that are toxic. And this is also your sign that if a friendship is not serving you, if it is not someone that is supporting you, that you feel like it's an equal give and take, and they aren't someone that's healthy for you, you do not have to be in that friendship. The same thing as in the relationship. If someone is over and over and over again showing you red flags, believe them. Do not fall in love with the potential of someone. I also think we have all been there. You have to love the person for who they are right now in front of you. And please don't be blind to the red flags, because the red flags will come back to bite you in the booty. And that's just the way that a lot of times you can avoid very, very hurtful situations in a lot of areas of life if you pick out the red flags early on and you set up your boundaries. And if you see the red flag here, you are going in this direction over here. I know for me personally, I moved my whole childhood growing up. So I was born in Argentina, then I moved to New York, then we moved to Barcelona, then I moved back to Argentina, then I moved to Colorado, then I moved to Florida. So I have moved my whole entire life, and I have left a lot of friendships because I had to, obviously because I was moving all the time. But I also think that also being an only child and moving so much really, really helped me to pick out a lot of characteristics in a lot of different people. I've had a lot of different experiences, which as I make more videos on YouTube, I'll get a little bit more personal and share more personal stories if that's what you guys would like to hear about. But I learned a lot. I've seen a lot of red flags, and now I just really avoid red flags. I can see them, you know, very far away, and I don't need that in my life. So I choose people that serve me, that I feel like I can serve them as well, and that are just, it's a healthy environment for yourself and also just for those around you. The 7th thing that I stopped doing is not standing up or speaking up for myself. As an empath and a previous people pleaser to some extent, as I mentioned, I'm also an only child, so I feel like a lot of my life, most of my life, I've really dealt with things internally. I can be very extroverted in certain instances if I have to, but I am for sure probably more of an introvert, and I love being by myself and taking time to reflect and working on issues like through my own head. I don't always need external opinions. But I feel like this also made me struggle when it comes to sometimes standing up for myself, especially because I'm an empath, and I used to really sometimes prioritize what I had to say would make the other person feel, as opposed to, no, like, I need to say this for myself. I need to stand up for myself. I need to put a boundary here. And I'm not gonna lie, the first few times that I was in situations where maybe I felt undervalued, whether that was in a relationship, in a work relationship, it was hard for me to put those boundaries up and stand up for myself, because I'm not someone that really likes conflict. I much rather have like deep conversations and work through things. I really have to get to a pretty bad point for me to kind of hit that breaking point and be like, I need to say this, I need to get this off my chest. Now that I'm a little bit older and I've had a few instances where I think the universe just forced me into that situation so that I would become more comfortable with that uncomfortable area for me, I have definitely gotten better. Now I don't let things get to that boiling point. When I feel things, I say them, I communicate them, and then obviously then you see how the other person responds, and then whether or not you want to proceed with that work relationship, with that personal relationship. But I really think that as an empath or as a people pleaser, standing up for yourself, speaking up for yourself can be so empowering, and it will be uncomfortable at first, but it can also change your life for the better. The 8th thing that I stopped doing is being hypercritical of myself. If I could give my teenage self a big hug right now, I so would. I used to be so critical of myself. I think I suffered for so long, which now I'm like, why? Why did I put myself through that, through my own self? Like, I had no reason to be that self-critical of myself. When I was a teenager, I did struggle with an ED. I can make separate videos about that and how I overcame that. It wasn't for that long of a period of time, and sometimes I kind of black out and I forget that that was even me. But I think a lot of my passion now for health and wellness comes from that experience that I had when I was 15 and I was 16. I was also an athlete growing up. I played tennis, soccer, golf, swimming, basketball, skiing, snowboarding, everything. Tennis was my main sport. I played varsity tennis and golf. And I was also hypercritical of myself when it came to sports. And I was also really big into academics and a really great student. So I put a lot of pressure on myself, which now I look back on and I think about so much time that I lost being hypercritical and just probably not being happy. And it definitely reflected. I don't think I treated my parents as well as now I would have liked, maybe friends as much as I would have liked. And I'm not the proudest of that version of myself, but I do think that being in that darker place and coming out of it has really made me more empathetic to what other people might be going through. But this is your sign that please stop being so hypercritical of yourself. You don't have to be perfect. If anything, not being perfect is so much better. Embracing self-compassion is so good for you. At the end of the day, you spend the most time with yourself, so you might as well be the kindest person to yourself, because there's already rude enough people out there or people that are going to try to tear you down. So be your number one fan. Like, be that person that is there for yourself, because at the end of the day, you are what you have. Obviously, you can have a support system around you, but whatever internal dialogue you're having with yourself is going to be the thing that makes the biggest difference. So stop being hypercritical. It's a work in progress, like always. It's something that you do over a lifetime, but try to fall in love with yourself, become the best version of yourself that you want to, and be patient. It takes time, but you can definitely get there. And the last thing that I stopped doing is I stopped trying to please everyone. This kind of combines a few of the previous talked points, but I really think it is so much more important for you to just try to be authentic to yourself over trying to look for approval in other people, especially people that you maybe don't even have that much in common with, or you don't even want to be them. So like, why are you looking for approval from them? And I also feel like your life just kind of feels emptier when you are looking for external approval all the time, as opposed to just finding it within yourself, because you are going to be so much more content if you are content with yourself. If you're constantly looking for other people to validate how great you are at your career, or how great you are, how great you look, all those things, it's never going to be enough. It's always going to be fluctuating, and you're going to feel like you have no control, and it's just not a healthy place to be. So I really think that you need to stop trying to please everybody and really focus on your relationship with yourself, because that is the most important. So let's make a pact that starting today, we are prioritizing our inner peace and we are protecting it like it is the most valuable thing, because it is. And obviously, if you are struggling with mental health, I am not a mental health provider, so please do seek help if you do need to. But I really hope that these points helped you, and hopefully something resonated with you. And if it did, please let me know what are the things that you have stopped doing or that you've incorporated into your life that have really helped you protect your inner peace and feel like yourself, feel more grounded, and overall just lead a happier life. And as always, if you got any value from this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I am so grateful to have you here, and I hope to catch you in one of my next ones.